Right, let's turn this down for us. Some background music playing. Current session is New York. Now, I did say I'm gonna update all of you. So checking in right now. Checking in right now. Earlier on we got stopped out over here. I got stopped out here. But that's totally fine. That is totally fine. This is why. This is the perfect example as to why you should have your non-negotiables in place. So got stopped out during London session, and then came back New York session. So one stop out is understandable. It's only 80 pips. 80 pips is pretty much pennies, you know. So let's look at how far the discovery can run into. So like I said, I'm not really a big fan of shorts. Okay, I'm only taking shorts right now simply because we've got downside unresolved business pending. So sitting over here, Asia high, Asia low. London runs into the 1.18 once secondary attempt, and then overlap third attempt. We break through the 1.27. Now over here, we've got the London high, London low. Okay, NY has broken above the 1.27. Now price can shift back below, and that's exactly what we are waiting for. But you gotta understand one thing. Right now, okay, it's a Monday. It's a Monday, early start to the week. We saw what happened during the overlap. Sorry, market open. Gap push, and then Asia carries it. This is where pretty much the majority of market participants they got rinsed out and exhausted here. Okay, Asian session. Okay, New York is a longer session. The party begins now. London first high 9:30, 9:45. Downside breaches below London low. Sorry, London high lower area pending. So breach one and breach two pending. It's all about how you manage your exposures. I mean, are you comfortable with taking trades off the 1.18, 1.27, or do you want to wait for price to come back into the range? Now, London session, yeah, is a non-delta session. So, the required condition here was bearish candle, bullish delta. That that candle needs to sit inside the first high, first low, or downside breaches. Now, I've cross-checked all the bearish candles, yeah. Not a single one of those bearish candles which sit inside of the required sequence. I mean the sequence that we have here. We don't have any delta, so it's a non-delta play, meaning Asia low remains protected. However, the discovery is to the downside, and again, dip buys on gold are valid. However, if we look over here, Asia's first low sits at 145 to downside breaches are pending below Asia's first low, so we haven't got that yet. Just waiting for, most likely New York or Asia. It could be a multi-session play. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a multi-session play into Asia's first low. Once we get the breach one and breach two below, Asia's first low, we can then go longs and really carry these swings. But right now, going longs, it doesn't really make sense because you have to understand one thing. When we're looking to capitalize on the longs, yeah, we're not here to just capitalize on 300-400 pips. We're here to capitalize on minimum 700-800 pips, minimum. Okay, so going longs when price ran into the first high lower area, breach one and breach two, it wasn't advisable to go longs because yeah, cool, we're gonna bank in 300-400 pips. I'm also I'm shifting my entire attention towards intraday move, and manage these intraday trades into intra-week swings, and then hold them for multi-session, hold them into multi-session swings, and then see if I can just hold them for a week or two or three, and then turn them into multi-month swings. So in order to navigate and move around intraday to interest swings, you have to be patient. Okay, the move from here to here, it's 800 pip move. Now that's my cup of tea here. I'm really interested in how price starts to turn around towards Asia's first low, because if we don't get those breaches below the first low, upside remains restricted. Okay, don't forget that upside remains restricted because Asia prints the delta. Now, in order for the delta, obviously price needs to revisit the delta candle, but in order for any session to even continue pushing higher, we need 2 breaches below the first session low. Now, we can see here that London also, left downside breaches. It's a non-delta play, and that's exactly how it's playing out. It's a non-delta play. So, a lot of people are going to get trapped into this breakout. Breakout traders are going to get trapped. Okay? Obviously, obviously we need, in order for our trades to be successful, people have to fail, unfortunately. That's how the market operates, and there's volume has shifted. If you look at the delta here, -1, 2, 3, 4, and then volume shifted. So this was all pre-positioning. Yeah, huge selling imbalance was pre-positioning. Okay, sellers were hitting the bids aggressively. However, they failed to, push price lower. And now what's happening is that this is initiative buying, by the way. Look at this positive delta, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of that, yeah, which we can see, clearly. It's just to run into the 1.27. That's pretty much it. And we know that once price runs into 1.18 or 1.27, it tends to have a reaction, and that reaction is very short-lived. Okay, so yeah, price will come back into London's first high simply because downside breaches are pending. Now look, it's very clear. It's very, very clear. Mechanical approach, but it's very clear. Okay, I'm not chasing no longs right now. I'm looking at what the market is telling me. Okay, and I'm marking out exactly what I need to be looking at. And London's first high is here. Breach 1 sits over here, 1345. Yeah. Breach 2 sits over here, 1400. The candle that broke breach 2 is 1415. And then, if you're precise with this, you can line the fib up. This candle, excess candle, it broke into the 1.27. So it's not really an excess candle. It plays a crucial part, and that's it. We track and trace, monitor, we move on. I'll check back in later on. I'm gonna hit the gym, sauna, and then I'll come back later on.